Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are viewing today's pre-recorded on-demand presentation featuring tips and tricks for booking your perfect rail vacation. Folks, my name is Jim Marino and I will proudly be your host here today. And I got lots of tips and tricks. So I hope you can join me all the way through. And to get started, for those of you who may not be as familiar with Amtrak Vacations, we are part of the Rail Bookers Group brands. I'm proud to say we are the national tour operator in the United States for Amtrak. So what does that mean? We book everything from rail, hotel, meals, sightseeing tours. We can even book car rentals for you. Here's another little tip and trick that you may not be as familiar with. And we have some great packages that are put together from 3, 4, 5-day weekend, week-long getaways to 1 and 2 weeks long across the country, in particular out to the beautiful national parks. And we're going to talk more about that today and really the tips and tricks on how to book your perfect rail vacation. And I should start out by saying, do you know the first tip that I have? Or really, I should say second tip, all right? Besides the fact we can book car rentals, is picking up that phone and giving us a call. All right, we are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as all day on Saturday and even on Sunday. Now, you also have the option to book through your local travel advisor, and I highly recommend to do that, who can also even book flights for you. There's another tip and trick. All right, you see, we don't book flights. We can book pretty much most of everything else. We don't book flights, but your local travel advisor can, and he or she can also book any of the packages that I'm going to highlight here today. I told you I'm filled with lots of tips and tricks. Now, on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see the brochure Rail Bookers. This is our sister brand. This is all of our Canadian, European, worldwide rail vacations, even rail vacations, believe it or not, up in Alaska. Yes, even in Alaska. For those of you who may want to do Alaska by rail versus sail, or in addition to sail. Now, I encourage you to scan in that QR code right there in the top right-hand corner of the large picture on your screen to be able to download either of these brochures. Now, when we talk about Amtrak Vacations, here's another tip and trick on booking your perfect rail vacation. Folks, you can literally call us today, you can book today, and travel today. And whatever today is whatever today is for you. So whenever you're viewing this pre-recorded on-demand training webinar or overview of a webinar and presentation, you actually have that ability. Now, you also have the ability to plan today or in the next few months to travel all the way until 2024. Did you know you can actually book trips with us up to 2 years in advance? All right. Now, there's so many reasons why travelers love Amtrak Vacations. I tried to condense it to the top 5. All right. The top left-hand corner on your screen, you're looking at the screen, you or your local travel advisor is speaking to one of our rail experts. These folks know the rail, the routes, the best times of the year, the destinations. As I mentioned, you can book and travel literally from today all the way until 2024. And we offer an optional cancellation insurance. That is our maximum flexibility. So make sure to ask one of our rail experts or your local travel advisor to tell you more. I'm proud to say we have the largest rail vacation selection, not only in the United States, but the world between both of our brands. And no rail trip is too complicated for us. Here's another tip and trick. Did you know all our trips are independent style vacations, which stands for flexible independent travel, FIT. What that means is you can personalize, you can customize any trip from start, during the trip, even after the trip, just the way you would like. Because our goal at the end of the day is to find the perfect vacation at the perfect price for each and every one of you. Now, because you're able to customize and personalize any trip, you have so many options available. So if you look in the top left-hand corner, if you want to add on any destination, we can do that. Wherever the train goes, we can take you there. You can add extra nights on any of our packages. Or on the flip side, you can also take out nights. So if you're trying to stay with us within a certain amount of days or a certain price point, we got you covered. You can take a trip round trip right from your local Amtrak train station. And by the way, there's over 500 Amtrak train stations throughout the United States. Again, I told you folks, I am filled with tips and tricks. You can also upgrade your rail ticket to be in a sleeper. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. You can also add sightseeing tours or even private tours. Speaking of the train, let's move into that right now. Did you know you're allowed 2 free carry-on bags and 2 free pieces of checked luggage, up to 50 pounds per luggage, 50, up to 50 pounds per luggage. Each person is allowed 2 per person, all right? Last time I checked, most airlines, there's a charge even for your first piece of luggage, unless you're part of a certain elite status with that airline. And yes, the bottom left-hand corner, the last bullet point, luggage can be checked in as 45 minutes prior to departure. So you don't have to arrive at the airport 3 hours ahead of time. You can literally get there 1 to 2 hours and be good to go. So the question I have is, where can you travel to by train? Or really, where can you not travel to by train in the lower 48, in the domestic continental USA? If you look at this map, folks, see all those red lines? Those represent all the different Amtrak trains in the United States. And believe it or not, last year, over 33 million people traveled on board Amtrak. Over 33 million people. So if Amtrak was an airline, it would actually be the 6th largest airline in the United States. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's over 500 train stations in the United States. So if any of you joining us, if you do not like to fly, if you don't feel like driving, if you want to visit family and friends in other parts of the United States, if you're celebrating a special occasion, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, whatever the reason may be, we got you covered. All right? By the way, all the light green and light blue lines that you see on the map, those represent what we call our motor coach throughway service, which basically connects you to some of those iconic destinations where the trains may not physically travel to, but we still include within any Amtrak vacation package. Destinations such as Las Vegas, Nashville, or Yellowstone or Yosemite, just to list a few. What is it like on board? Well, let's move into that, folks. And before we do, can I mention, when you upgrade to a private sleeper, do you know you have priority boarding? We're going to talk more about the benefits of upgrading to private sleepers in just a little bit. But for those of you that are traveling on board the train on any of our rail packages, I'm going to give you one of the biggest highlights right now. You ready, folks? There are no middle seats. Let me repeat that, all right? There are no middle seats. 2 extra large seats on one side, 2 extra large seats on the other. As you can see, looking at the picture, you have plenty of leg room, okay? There's outlets at every seat to charge your iPhone, mobile device, iPad, laptop. As you can see in the top of the picture, plenty of space to store your luggage or carry-on bag. So rest assured, traveling by coach is always a great option. But when we talk about overnighting on board the train, here are all the great and important things to know about upgrading to private sleepers. All right, let's move right into that. Did you know you have a dedicated car attendant plus included toiletries, bottled water, and coffee? You also have your own privacy door. These doors can actually lock from the inside. You can sit back, relax. You can open it, as you can see here, where you can get in and out of your roomette. And we're going to talk about the different categories in a little bit. I will mention, too, here's another little tip and trick. Do you know when you upgrade to a private sleeper, you also have access to any available coach seat while on board the train as well? So if you want to go sit in a coach seat during the day and then come back to your sleeper later on in the afternoon or evening, you certainly have the opportunity to do that. Now, what I do suggest on any of these select long distance overnight journeys, especially out in the western United States, in particular the national parks, go sit in the observation car. That's what you're looking at right here, folks. This is free of charge. This is where I always end up on any and every trip I travel on, okay? And I encourage you, your family and friends, to do the same as you have this available. Look at this, the big, beautiful glass dome windows, all right? Absolutely amazing. Now, what are the different sleeping categories on board the train? Well, here's another tip and trick. This category, which is called a roomette, is the most popular category, and it's the most affordable category of any sleepers on board the train. As you can see, you can sit back, relax, enjoy the scenery right from the comfort of your own room. If you want to read a book, listen to a little music, you can certainly do it. It's 2 seats that face each other during the day, and then in the evening, they both lower down and combine to make the lower bed, and then you have a bunk bed. And just to give you an idea on what this room configuration looks like, here it is, folks. Now, what you will notice is we have what we call private restroom access, private shower access. So as you can see, looking at the diagram, there is no toilet or shower inside of the room. But remember, It's our most popular and our most affordable because what we have is right down the hall, we have what we call private yet shared toilets and showers. And the only people that can use them are only people that are booked into sleepers. Now, did I mention you also have your own room attendant, your own Amtrak attendant, and he or she is there to help you not only with turn down service in the evening, but also to help take your reservations and help answer any questions that you may have during your journey. All right. Now, you know yourselves the best. If you want a room that might be a little bit larger in size, but it does have its own private toilet, shower, and vanity inside, then consider upgrading to a bedroom. As you can see, looking at the diagram, it's also bunk bed style, just like a roomette. In fact, most trains worldwide, folks, most trains are bunk bed style when they do travel overnight. But the beauty of this room is you do have your own in-room restroom and your own in-room shower. And I'm going to give you another little tip and trick. Do you know on some of our trains, not all of them, but some of our trains, you can even request to have adjoining bedrooms, 2 bedrooms side by side that adjoin, where you can open up the door in the middle and your family and friends can go back and forth between the 2 rooms. You see, that's what my family and I did not too long ago when we took the train known as the auto train. Some of you may have been on this train or heard of this train. That's the one and only train in the United States. You can actually bring your own car, your own truck, your own motorcycle. There's another little tip and trick, right? So if you don't feel like driving the whole way, you can do that. And my family, it's a family of 5, so we ended up getting 2 bedrooms. We opened it up, and my wife and I and our children were able to go back and forth between the 2 rooms. But if you're traveling with your children, your grandchildren, your parents or grandparents, definitely consider requesting or asking to see if the train that you'll be traveling on also offers adjoining bedrooms. Now, again, as I mentioned, it is larger in size as well, as you can see here. I will also mention we do have accessible bedrooms. So if any of you or your friends or family may need an accessible bedroom, let us know or let your local travel advisor know, and he or she will make those arrangements. Now, one of the biggest benefits and one of the biggest highlights I can't say enough about, did you know when you upgrade to a private sleeper, all your meals are included, folks, from the city you depart from until the city you arrive in while you are booked into a sleeper. Now, as you can see in this picture, you even have dining options where you can have meals delivered right to your own private sleeper. So if you don't feel like going to the dining car and you just want to have breakfast in the morning at your own leisure right from the comfort of your own room or lunch or dinner, whatever meal it is, you certainly have the ability to do that. Now, my own personal suggestion, especially if you're traveling long distance or out to the beautiful Western United States or cross country out to the national parks, consider always eating in the dining car. They're tables of 4. You'll have a chance to meet other passengers while on board. You see, traveling on the train is part of the entire experience. It's part of the exciting rail vacation, right? Is traveling, the scenery, the sights, the people on board. So consider doing that. Let's move into some of the packages that really can make your perfect rail vacation. And we're going to start with rails to the Grand Canyon. Now, if you look at this package, folks, if you look at the map, as you can see, it's round trip from Los Angeles. But the beautiful thing is any of our trips can be round trip from wherever there's a local Amtrak train station. So wherever you're located, again, if you don't like to fly or you don't feel like driving, you can start and end right at your local Amtrak train station. Now, if you don't mind flying, as I mentioned, we don't book flights. We can book pretty much most of everything else except for flights, but that's one of many great reasons to always consider working and booking through your local travel advisor because they can book any of these packages, including flights. Now, on the map too, folks, you see the red lines? The red lines represent the train, and we'll show you the train in just a little bit. But the number 1 in a red triangle, that just tells you that's an overnight on board the train. So as you can see, it's an overnight from Los Angeles out to Arizona, and then an overnight from Arizona back to Los Angeles. Now, the number 2 that you see in a round circle, that just tells you that's how many nights you are overnighting in the beautiful Grand Canyon. Now, this particular tour, as I mentioned, starts in the great city of Los Angeles, home of Beverly Hills, home of Hollywood, my old stopping grounds for almost 8 years, where weather on an average is in the 60s to 70s daily with very little to no humidity. The train you travel on out of Los Angeles, or round trip rather, is known as the Southwest Chief, and that's the train that you see here. This is the train that's going to bring you right into the beautiful state of Arizona. And what's great is when you do travel to the Grand Canyon, what you're looking at right here, folks, is one of many lodges that you can stay at when you book any Amtrak vacation package. This is El Tavar. And guess what? I'm proud to say I am going to be going here very soon myself. All right. And in fact, staying at this lodge, which is nestled right along the south rim of the Grand Canyon. This is a 4-star, 4-diamond lodge, 5-star, 5-diamond being the best. Okay. One of the more upscale lodges. Many of the lodges are more rustic feel. We have Maswick Lodge, Yavapai, just to name a few. So depending on which one you prefer, just ask us or your local travel advisor to tell you more. Did you also know whatever lodge you do choose to stay at, you also have the option, if you choose, to upgrade your room inside of the lodge. So consider that as well. Now, how do you get to the south rim of the Grand Canyon? Well, folks, on every one of our Grand Canyon packages, we include the Grand Canyon Railway. And that's the train you see right there in the large picture on the left-hand side. This is that Wild West authentic train that takes you right from Williams, Arizona into the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Now, it's only about a 2-hour train ride, but you'll travel through the pine forest. Now, my advice, too, here's another little tip and trick. Request to upgrade to the Dome class, okay, while on board the train. The Dome class is the part of the train that has the big, beautiful glass dome windows. It also has 2 extra large seats on one side, 2 extra large seats on the other. There's snacks and refreshments included. Don't be surprised if you even have a little Wild West show along the journey as you're traveling out of the Grand Canyon Railway train station, which is right there on the right-hand side, but definitely an awesome experience. And then before you know it, you'll have time to soak in the beautiful scenery. Do you know they say the Grand Canyon is considered one of the 7 wonders of the world? And speaking of the number 7, over 7 million visitors just this past year. All right. They even estimate there's some parts of the Grand Canyon that are up to 6,000 feet deep. Just an awesome trip to consider. And again, this one happens to be round trip from Los Angeles, but it can be round trip wherever you have an Amtrak train station locally right near you. Let's continue on. Now, if you're not looking for a getaway and you want to see more national parks to make your perfect rail vacation, then consider America's national parks, where this one includes some fantastic areas. Not only Denver, not only Salt Lake City, so 2 great cities, but also some awesome national parks all in one trip. Now, Denver is the Mile High City. One of my favorite train stations is right here. This is the Denver Union Station. It actually has a hotel inside the train station, has a restaurant, just an awesome, brand new, modern style train station. But what's nice is you also have the opportunity to go on a guided tour with a local tour guide and visit Rocky Mountain National Park. Now, this is a good time to explain what is the difference between an independent style vacation, which is our vacations, versus a traditional escorted bus tour. Well, unlike a bus tour, right, and some of you may have traveled on a guided escorted bus tour, where typically every day from 6 to 8 in the morning it's breakfast, from 8 to 12 it's sightseeing, from 12 to 2 it's lunch, from 2 to 5 it's more sightseeing, from 5 to 7 it's dinner, from 7 p.m. on there's an evening activity, and that is most days and nights on a guided escorted bus tour for 5, 7, 10, 12 plus days. And there are some folks who like that type of regimented schedule, morning, noon, and night. But with us, what I like to say is we have the best blend of both, such as Rocky Mountain National Park. You'll have a half a day locally guided tour with a local tour guide. But the other half of the day, you can explore at your own pace, at your own leisure. All right? Other days, we may include a full day guided tour, but then you may have a full day at leisure. It all depends. Now, this trip's special because you're traveling to national parks where the trains do not physically travel to, but we still include within our packages. So after Moab, that's when you travel to destinations such as Arches National Park. You ever heard of the Mighty Five? All right, the Mighty Five in the great state of Utah. This is one of those iconic national parks, and you will travel there either in a shuttle bus, a small bus that can fit anywhere from 10 to 15 passengers. You also have the option to have your own private car rental if you choose. So whatever you choose, you have that option. This trip also includes Canyonlands National Park. It includes the Great Salt Lake City, which I refer to as the gateway to Yellowstone National Park. All right. You know, Yellowstone is the first national park in all of the United States. And speaking of Yellowstone, if you take the states of Rhode Island and Delaware and combine them, do you know both of those states combined are smaller than Yellowstone National Park? So if you want to visit multiple national parks and you want to do it all in the same trip, consider this particular package. But here's the cool thing. It's not only the national parks. We got some fantastic cities, and I'm excited and proud to say I just traveled to this one recently, New Orleans. Folks, there's lots of great places and attractions to see, and I'm going to show you in just a minute that can make your perfect rail vacation. But if you look at this, you see New Orleans on the map? 3 nights. So it tells you you're there for 4 days, 3 nights. Now, what you may not notice on this one is there is no rail included. Well, that's because you can start and add rail from your local Amtrak train station. So you just let our rail expert or your local travel advisor know, and we'll add that onto the package and build it and customize it just for you. Now, what's nice is on every city tour we offer, we always include some type of locally guided sightseeing, okay? So in New Orleans, as an example, you'll have the option to hop on a 24 to 48 hour hop on, hop off trolley tour. Now, what is a hop on, hop off trolley tour? Here's another tip and trick. You don't have to rent a car if you don't choose to. You don't have to get an Uber or a Lyft. You can get to and from and throughout the city by just exploring on board the hop on, hop off tour. And what that allows you to do is get off in certain areas, wherever the trolley stops, stay as long or as short as you want, and then hop on the next trolley. You see, a lot of these trolleys and a lot of the tours that operate throughout the United States, the trolleys, the motor coach buses, they'll typically pick people up every 15 minutes to a half an hour. There's multiple trolleys, multiple buses. They'll start from early in the morning and they'll go into early in the evening. It is a great way to see the city. Now, what do we have here? Beignets. Has any of you ever had beignets at Cafe Du Monde? All right, let alone the cafe or latte. We love this place so much, my family and I. We went back not only one, we not only went there once, we went there twice recently. It was so delicious. Fried dough with powdered sugar. You can even add cinnamon if you want. It is absolutely delicious. But what is New Orleans known for? The nightlife. All right. Great jazz, blues, rock and roll. You know, again, if you're looking for that perfect rail vacation and how to book it, these are some of the fun things that you can do to make your trip the perfect trip of a lifetime. And I'll tell you what we also included in our trip, which you can as well, a steamboat cruise that overlooks the harbor and the city in the evening. It is awesome. We offer a 2-hour either luncheon cruise or a dinner cruise. All right, where you get a chance to have a nice meal, sit down, and then, of course, soak in the scenery. Keep New Orleans in mind, all right? Just an awesome place. Great cuisine, jambalaya, Cajun-style cuisine, nightlife. You can't go wrong. Now, it's not only New Orleans. How about Charleston and Savannah? I'm excited to say I also just went here recently. And as you can see, whether it's New Orleans, Charleston, Savannah, again, we have a range of just 3, 4, 5, 6-day getaway trips to 1 and 2 weeks long. And any trip can be personalized or customized. Now in Charleston, shrimp and grits is a must, everyone. All right? I'm going to give you another little tip and trick. All right? When you're booking your perfect rail vacation, if Charleston and Savannah is on your wish list, there's a restaurant called Musk. All right? And there's also a restaurant called Porch, I want to say. Poogan's Porch. Poogan's Porch. So remember those 2 restaurants right in the heart of the city, Poogan's Porch or Musk. They're actually right next to one another. Those are some fantastic restaurants, highly rated in the area. If you want that authentic Southern low country cuisine, they call it, shrimp and grits, pecan pie. All right, I could go on and on. Let's just say we got 3 orders of the biscuits with the butter that had almost maple in it. It was absolutely delicious. And right nearby Charleston is Savannah. All right. Savannah is just an awesome city, great scenery right here in the beautiful park. So consider this package again if you want a nice city getaway. Now, for those of you that want to not only see great cities, but you'd also love to experience multiple consecutive nights on board the train, I want you to take a look at this map for a minute, folks. See the red line? See the triangle from Chicago out to Seattle, and then the line, the triangle from San Francisco back to Chicago? You see the number 2? What that lets you know is you're spending 2 consecutive nights while on board the train. And that's when you definitely want to consider to upgrade to a private sleeper. But this trip's special because it's round trip out of Chicago. So if you want to spend an extra night or 2 here, you can easily, again, add nights, as I mentioned. But this trip does include Seattle. Here we have the Space Needle, home of the first Starbucks that ever opened up back in 1971. All right, where Jimi Hendrix was from, the great state of Washington. And yes, San Francisco. And trolley cars are such a must getting in and around this city. This trip itself, Northern Rail Experience, great value, great scenery, all in one trip. Folks, I want to encourage you also, if any of these discounts apply, take advantage of them, all right? Any of you that are looking to travel with your children or grandchildren, if they're between the ages of 2 and 12, do you know you can get 50% off, 50% off the cost of the rail ticket within any package? Now, all these discounts are based in coach seating, but every penny helps, every dollar you save. If any of you are 65 or older, all right, you can qualify for 10% off. If any of you are active duty military, first and foremost, thank you for your service. You, your spouses, your dependents can also qualify for 10% off. Again, all off on the rail portion of a package, which is the rail ticket within a package. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's pre-recorded on-demand webinar and presentation. I encourage you all, whether you're looking to travel literally today or anytime this year or next year or within the next 2 years, wherever and whenever you're looking to travel, pick up that phone. You can give us a call, or even better, contact your local travel advisor who can book any of these trips for you. You will not spend 1 penny extra. And guess what? They can even book flights for you as well, either one way or round trip. You decide. Thank you so much again, everyone, for being here. I wish you all a great rest of the day, the week, the morning, the afternoon, the evening. And we look forward to having you, your friends, and family on board soon with Amtrak Vacations. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.